Discover the touching note that transformed an undercover owner's life in just 30 seconds. Sam wiped his brow, surveying the half-empty diner on a dreary Tuesday morning. The jukebox hummed a soft tune, but the lack of laughter and chatter felt like a weight on his shoulders. At 45, he had dedicated years to Edna's diner, pouring his heart into every dish. It was a family legacy, passed down from his grandparents, but the shadows of fast food chains loomed larger every day. He glanced at the clock, its ticking echoing the relentless countdown of bills piling up: rent due, payroll for his small staff, and his daughter Mia's school expenses. In his quiet moments, Sam couldn't shake the feeling that he was failing them both. Resilience was in his blood, yet his will was wearing thin. Suddenly, the diner door swung open. Old Mr. Hawkins, a weathered veteran who had sat at the counter every morning for years, shuffled in. Sam threw him a smile which the man returned briefly. Today, however, Mr. Hawkins wasn't interested in his usual cup of black coffee. Instead, his hands trembled as he passed Sam a crumpled note. "What's this, Mr. H?" Sam asked, furrowing his brow. "Just read it, son," said Mr. Hawkins, his voice steady but eyes welling with gratitude. As Sam unfolded the note, words jumped off the page, wrapping him in warmth. "Dear Sam, your kindness is like a light in my dark days. You remember my story, how you always listened when I needed to talk. Thank you for being the heart of this diner. You remind us all that it's more than just food, it's about community." Tears stung Sam's eyes as a lump formed in his throat. In just moments, he felt the flicker of hope spark within him, a reminder that success wasn't merely counted in dollars but in connections made, lives touched. But as Sam wrestled with this bittersweet feeling, he couldn't escape his growing distance from Mia. She had become a stranger in many ways, her teenage world felt miles away from the diner. As the lunch rush faded, he realized he needed to bridge that gap, but uncertainty loomed like a dark cloud over their relationship. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Inspired, Sam proposed a new menu to bring life back into the diner, scrambling to reinvent the space. But the changes didn't resonate the way he hoped. They felt forced, hollow. Customers drifted away and the diner became quieter still. Just when he thought he lost it all, the town began to remember his kindness, rallying around him in unexpected ways. Neighbors who had once shared laughs and meals in his diner returned, bringing their smiles and support glimmering like a lifeline. The turning point came when Mia found the note. Shocked at her father's hidden pain, she confronted him, her voice trembling with honesty. "Dad, why do you think it's all on you? We can help each other." In that charged moment, the air crackled with unspoken truths as walls broke down. They wrestled with their love, their fears, and the weight of unfulfilled dreams. As they clung to each other, Sam sensed the dawn of a new understanding. He was no longer just a diner owner, he was a father, and love could heal more than any menu change. But just as the shadows lifted, they faced uncertainty together. Could they rejuvenate the diner and their relationship, or would the pressures of life tear them apart? As the diner door creaked open, the question hung in the air: could this be their fresh start or yet another challenge to conquer? Sam stood at the front of the diner, the smell of bacon and fresh coffee wafting through the air, mixing with the scent of old wood and memories. The table that once buzzed with laughter now sat silent, but something had changed. Mia's words echoed in his mind: "We can help each other." That simple promise felt like a lighthouse guiding him through choppy waters. He watched her from behind the counter, an artistic whirl of colors as she sketched something on a napkin. The way her brows crinkled in concentration tugged at his heart. She had always been his bright star, but lately, it felt like they were miles apart. Today was different, though. Today felt like a chance to establish a new connection. "Hey, Mia," he called out, trying to keep his voice light. "How about you help me with something?" She looked up, surprise flickering in her eyes. "Like what?" "Let's create a special together, the Mia and Sam special. Just one dish to bring in the folks." His stomach fluttered with nervous excitement, but he wouldn't let doubt seep in. She pushed her hair back, a slow smile spreading across her face. "What do you have in mind?" "I was thinking, something modern, maybe a twist on the classic meatloaf." His heart raced. Would she be on board? Mia's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. "We could blend it with some Asian flavors, hoisin sauce mixed in. And I have a killer glaze recipe." As they brainstormed, Sam felt hope surge through him. They bounced ideas back and forth, laughter slicing through the tension that had hung between them for so long. Each recipe concept deepened their bond, and somewhere between spicy meatloaf and honey-glazed carrots, they began to stitch their relationship back together. Sam couldn't remember when he last felt this alive. The diner, which had been a heavy weight on his shoulders, morphed into a joyful place once again. He pictured the grand reopening, advertising their special, and how it would draw in regulars and newcomers alike. But this time, it wouldn't just be about the food, it would be about rebuilding their connection. As they hurried through their preparations, he caught her sneaking glances his way, admiration glowing in her smile. "You know, Dad, I've always thought you were the best cook." Caught off guard, Sam's heart swelled. "And you're a culinary artist in the making. Your ideas are what make this place unique." Suddenly, the bell above the door chimed, breaking their moment. In walked Mrs. Baker, an elderly woman with a warm heart and an even warmer smile. She had been a loyal customer since Sam's parents had run the diner, and her presence always brightened the day. "Good morning, Sam." "Ooh, it smells good in here." She shuffled to the counter, her eyes twinkling. "What's cooking?" Before he could answer, Mia jumped in. "We're creating a special dish. The Mia and Sam special, a meatloaf twist, just for you." Mrs. Baker's eyes widened in delight. "Count me in. I wouldn't miss it." Sam felt a rush of satisfaction. This was at this moment, this connection was what he had aspired to revive. But as the morning unfolded, and the excitement of their special surged, a gnawing sense of anxiety tugged at Sam's insides. Could they really bring the diner back to life? Would this effort be enough to heal the rift between him and Mia? Just then, Sam's phone buzzed violently in his pocket. He fumbled for it, his heart dropping when he saw the unknown number. Tension crackled in the air like static electricity. Could this be the news he had dreaded? Or perhaps a turning point they were waiting for? With a deep breath, he answered. "Hello." As he listened intently, the shock on his face hinted at the weight of the revelation unfolding on the other end of the line. What could it mean for the diner? And for their newly nurtured bond? As questions circled in his mind, an unexpected twist loomed on the horizon, poised to challenge everything they had started to rebuild. Sam's heart raced as the voice on the other end spoke. It was a familiar tone, but the words carried unsettling gravity. "Sam. It's Ethan. We need to talk. It's about your parents, and the diner." "What about them?" Sam's pulse quickened, each beat echoing in his ears. Mia, catching a glimpse of his tense expression, peered over with worried eyes. "Can you meet me at the old cafe? I think we need to discuss some things in person." "Sure," Sam managed, his mind spinning. He hung up, a whirlwind of emotions crashing into him. The past lingered like a ghost, his parents, the diner. He felt a sudden weight pressing down, memories colliding with the present. Mia's brow furrowed with concern. "Dad, what's wrong?" He forced a smile, hoping to mask his unease. "Just a call from Ethan. He wants to meet." "About what?" She pressed, biting her lip. Sam hesitated, glancing at the clock. "I don't really know." I'll be right back. Just keep working on our special. He knew he needed her to focus on their plans, on restoring this little piece of their dreams. As he stepped outside, the sun hit his face with a warmth that contrasted sharply with the storm brewing inside him. He had always thought Ethan was a reliable friend. But the way those words had come out felt ominous. The short walk to the cafe seemed to stretch on forever. Memories of laughter faded into shadows as he approached the door. He could almost hear his mom's voice urging him to trust his instincts. Sam breathed deeply, attempting to calm the rising tide of anxiety. Inside, Ethan sat at a corner table, fingers tapping nervously on his coffee cup. Sam. He waved, but there was a heaviness about him that Sam couldn't ignore. Hey, Sam said, taking a seat. What's this about? Ethan glanced around before leaning in, lowering his voice. It's about the diner. It's more than just the money. Your parents had plans, Sam. Their legacy. A pit formed in Sam's stomach. What do you mean? They were thinking about selling. I didn't want to believe it at first, but I found this note. He pulled out a folded piece of paper, handing it over with shaking fingers. Sam opened the note, his eyes racing over the words written in his mother's elegant script. They spoke of dreams, a vision to make the diner a place of joy and community, but they also revealed fears about its future. Beneath the surface, there were worries of debt and the possibility of closure. His heart twisted as memories flooded back, the laughter, the warmth, the tears they had shared. They thought about selling. Ethan nodded solemnly. But they wanted to find someone who cared as much as they did. They hoped it would stay in the family. Sam clenched the note tightly. I can't let that happen. The diner means everything. He felt the resolve hardening within him. Ethan hesitated, then leaned closer, almost whispering. You and Mia, you can do this, but you have to be all in. There's no half measures. The weight of responsibility surged through Sam. Could he really step up and meet the demands of this dream? It felt like everything was on the line, the bond with Mia, the legacy of his parents, their love for the diner. How do I do this, Ethan? He searched for answers that seemed as elusive as the summer breeze. You have to trust in each other and in that special you're working on. It's time to breathe life back into this place. With those words hanging in the air, the path ahead became clearer. But as hope began to bubble up, another thought pierced through, sharper than before. Was he ready to dive back into this? To reopen the wounds he thought were healing? As he left the cafe, the note slipped from his fingers onto the table behind him. The door swung closed, sealing both the revelation and the uncertainty it carried. What if the diner was more than just a place? What if it was a lifeline to who they were meant to be? But first, he had to share this news with Mia. He rushed back to the diner, both anticipation and fear threading through his heart. How would he find the words to explain it all? How could he ensure they were both ready for this leap? Just as he reached the door, the bell chimed and a familiar figure entered. It was Mrs. Baker again, but this time her expression was different, holding a secret about Sam's parents that could change everything. What could she possibly know? And how would it impact Sam and Mia's budding journey? As Sam stepped back into the diner, he caught his breath. The familiar scent of brewed coffee and fresh pastries wrapped around him, grounding his swirling thoughts. He spotted Mia behind the counter, her brow furrowed in concentration as she mixed ingredients for their special. He needed her focused, yet the weight of his meeting with Ethan pressed down on him. Mrs. Baker, with her gray hair neatly tied up, approached him slowly. Her eyes sparkled with something Sam couldn't quite place, concern, sympathy, or maybe even a secret that she was bursting to share. Sam, she said, her voice soft as the din of the diner hummed around them. I know you're busy, but there is something important we need to discuss. Sam nodded, alarm bells ringing in his mind. Is it about my parents? She hesitated, glancing towards Mia, who was completely absorbed in her task. Yes, it is. But it requires us to talk privately. All right, he replied, leading her to a quieter corner of the diner where lingering customers wooed and tea over here. The walls, once filled with life, now felt burdened with the weight of unsaid words. Mrs. Baker took a deep breath. Your parents had dreams, Sam. Dreams that went beyond the diner. She pulled out a yellowed envelope from her bag, the edges frayed with age. This might explain things better than I can. Sam's pulse quickened as she handed it to him. He carefully opened it, revealing a stack of letters tied together with a faded ribbon. Each envelope bore different addresses, something that intrigued him further. What are these? Letters they wrote to each other over the years. They planned to keep the diner, but they were also looking for opportunities. This was their safety net. But they also wrestled with their fears they never wanted you to see. Heart racing, he scanned the first letter. The words seemed to leap off the page. His mother's spirited handwriting painted scenes of hopes and dreams, but also expressed doubts about their ability to maintain the diner in the face of struggles. The emotions behind her words were raw, vulnerable. I can't believe this, he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Mrs. Baker nodded, empathy lining her face. They loved you both dearly, Sam. They wanted to pass down something meaningful, but they didn't want you to inherit their burden. Sam felt a lump rise in his throat. This was more than he had imagined. He flipped through the letters, each revealing snippets of their conversations about the diner, about life, about love, the things uniquely theirs. He couldn't escape the weight of pressure now, nor the clarity these letters provided. Why didn't you tell me this before? Mrs. Baker sighed, her eyes dripping with sorrow. I didn't want to interfere. I felt it was your family's journey to uncover these truths. But I feared time was of the essence. He looked up at her. Time. She nodded, urgency coursing through her. There are those in town who are around eyeing the property, hoping to cash in on its value. They wouldn't think twice about closing its doors if they got the chance. A realization hit him hard. Standing there, clutching the letters, he felt his parents' presence, their unfulfilled dreams swirling around him. This wasn't just a diner, it was their legacy, a tapestry woven with love and hard work. I need to tell Mia, he said, determination burning deep within him. As he turned to race back to the counter, another name crossed his mind. Ethan. They need him more than ever now. But just then, Mia's voice broke into his thoughts. Dad. You won't believe what just happened. His heart stilled as he faced her, a mix of curiosity and dread bubbling inside. What is it, Mia? She looked at him, a mixture of excitement and worry reflecting in her bright eyes. I think I found a way to make our special even better, but there's more to it. Something big is happening. What do you mean? Mia took a deep breath. I think we might have a chance to bring in a whole new crowd, but it means changing everything we just planned. Sam felt the uncertainty creep back in, wrapping around him like an old blanket. If they took this chance, how might it alter the course of their dream? As they stood on the brink of transformation, Sam could feel his parents' eyes watching over them, willing them to take a leap of faith. But was he ready to embrace the change? Just then, the diner door opened, slicing through the moment, and a newcomer stepped in. A tall figure with an undeniable air of authority. Sam squinted, his heart racing. Who was this stranger? And what could they possibly want? The stranger strode through the doorway with purpose, the bells jingling overhead as if announcing a king entering his castle. He radiated confidence, a sharp suit clinging to a frame that exuded authority. Sam's instinct screamed danger. Excuse me, the man said, his voice smooth and commanding. Is this the Baker family diner? Sam felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Who wants to know? He asked, trying to mask the protective caution in his tone. The man offered a polite smile, but something about it didn't reach his eyes. I'm Mr. Hayes, a real estate developer. I've been looking into potential investments in this area, and I believe this place has a lot of potential." Mia's eyes were wide, flitting between her father and the stranger like a ping-pong ball. Sam could feel the tension rising in the air, thick enough to slice. "What do you mean by potential?" he asked, his voice firm. Mr. Hayes leaned in slightly, his gaze probing. "Well, I see this diner as a charming facade, but let us not kid ourselves, it's tied to the past. Imagine a vibrant new cafe, something that updates the old charm while drawing in a modern crowd." Sam's breath caught. "You want to change it?" "Not exactly," Hayes replied, his demeanor unsettlingly charming. "I want to invest. Partner up. Breathe new life into it." Mia gasped softly. "But this is our family's diner. My grandparents built this place." "Exactly," Hayes pressed, unshaken. "And that legacy can be preserved. But to thrive in this economy, change is necessary. We could modernize the menu, revamp the interior. Think of the possibilities." Sam felt a rush of heat in his cheeks. This man wasn't just proposing a business deal, he was implying that their way of life was outdated. "You don't understand what this place means to us." "On the contrary," Hayes said, his voice dropping to a low, persuasive tone. "I believe it's exactly what you need. A chance to break away from the burden of the past." Burden. The word hung in the air, a sharp reminder of the conversations he'd just had with Mrs. Baker about his parents' dreams. His heart raced, anger bubbling up. "You think you can just stroll in here and dictate our future? This diner is more than a profit margin to us." The smile faded from Hayes's face, replaced by a look of calculated interest. "It's your choice, Sam. You can choose to hold on to the past, or you can choose to step into a future full of opportunities." Sam's mind raced. He could feel the weight of the letters in his pocket as if they were burning a hole. Mrs. Baker's words echoed in his ears. "Whatever happens," Sam began, steeling himself, "this diner is my family's legacy. We're not selling. We'll find our own way." Hayes's eyes narrowed, but he quickly regained his composure. "Think about it. I'll be back." With that, he turned on his heel and strode back out the door, leaving an unsettling silence in his wake. The diner was unusually quiet, save for the muffled conversations of customers who had momentarily paused to observe the exchange. Sam felt raw, his heart pounding with determination, but clouded with uncertainty. "What do we do now?" Mia's voice broke through the silence, her eyes searching for answers. Sam looked down at the letters in his pocket, the words of his mother swirling in his heart. "We fight for this diner," he declared, his voice stronger than he felt inside. "But we might need to think outside the box." "What did you have in mind, Mia?" Her young face brightened with inspiration. "What if we combine the diner's charm with something new? A themed event? A local artist showcase? We could put our special on the map." As ideas bubbled between them, Sam felt a flicker of hope ignite. This was more than an opportunity to save the diner, it was a chance to honor his parents. Just as they began to brainstorm, the door swung open again. Another figure stepped inside, but this time, it was familiar Ethan. His expression was tense, unlike what they usually encountered. "What is going on?" Ethan asked, eyes darting between them. "I just heard something huge." An ear-splitting crack of thunder resonated outside, followed by a heavy downpour. Sam's heart raced at the thought of unforeseen troubles flooding their plans. "We're about to take a stand," he replied, a newfound resolve in every word. But could they rally enough support, withstand the storm, and embrace the change without losing themselves? As they stood at this crossroads, uncertainty filled the air once more. Sam knew this would be turning point, but was he ready to embrace it? Sam's determination was palpable as he gazed at his sister and Ethan. The storm outside mirrored the brewing chaos in his heart. He folded his arms, trying to catch his breath as waves of worry crashed over him. "We have to rally the whole community," he declared. If we can show them what this diner really means, they'll stand by us. Mia brightened, her smile infectious even in the storm's gloom. We could throw a neighborhood gathering. Invite everyone. People love this place. Ethan, more grounded and pragmatic, considered this. That could work, but it has to be special. What about featuring local music? A potluck to showcase local cooks. Sam nodded, feeling the energy of creativity pool between them. Yes. We could highlight everything this diner represents: family, community, and history. The rain began to batter the windows, matching the frantic pace of Sam's thoughts. As he paced, he spoke louder, envisioning their newfound fight. And we could add a community wall with photos and stories, remind everyone why we're here. Yes. Mia exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. We can invite those who've worked here through the years, everybody who has a connection to this place. It'll be a celebration of what we've built. As Sam turned to her, a genuine joy warmed his heart. This could remind people that this diner is a treasure they'll see. It's more than just food. Just then, a crash of thunder vibrated through the diner, shaking their resolve. The old neon sign outside flickered, casting a transient glow across the tables. For a fleeting moment, the reality of their situation loomed over them, but Sam pushed back the uncertainty. "Let us start right now," he urged. "Let us make a list of everyone we know who cares about the diner. I'll get the flyers out. We need to hit the ground running." The trio dove into action. Sam grabbed a scrap of paper, writing names and numbers faster than he could think, feeling the adrenaline surge through him. Mia leaped into a different chair, her fingertips flying over the keys of his old laptop, crafting an invite for the gathering. Meanwhile, Ethan, ever practical, gathered supplies they'd need: markers, posters, and all the essentials that could draw attention. Just as excitement filled the room, a customer, an older gentleman named Mr. Collins, waved from a booth. "Hey, what's going on? You all seem awfully busy." Mia jumped up and approached him. "We're organizing an event to support the diner." Her eyes sparkled with eagerness as she explained the idea. Mr. Collins raised a brow but quickly nodded. "You know, I've been coming here since I was a kid. This place means a lot. Count me in." As he returned to his coffee, Sam felt a flicker of warmth in his chest. This was how it began. He realized, one person at a time, people rallying around what they all held dear. Just then, Sam's phone buzzed in his pocket. He fished it out and saw a message from Mrs. Baker. "I've got an old family recipe I'd like to share with you. It might be just what you need." His heart raced. The love and legacy surrounding the diner seemed to pulse around him. Inspiration stormed within him as he grinned at Mia and Ethan. "Let us make sure this event is a real tribute to the past while we look ahead." But as they all huddled over their plans, a shadow fell across the doorway. Sam looked up to find Mr. Hayes standing there again. His eyes glinted with a mixture of curiosity and something darker. "What's all this?" Hayes asked, a slight edge creeping into his voice. Sam's heart dropped. This was no random visit. The man was back, and this time, he wasn't leaving without trying to push the issue. What did Hayes really want? Sam found himself wondering if they could really protect their legacy, or if this was just the calm before an even greater storm. He exchanged worried glances with Mia and Ethan. One thing was clear, they weren't done fighting yet. How far would each of them go to hold on to what mattered most? Sam's stomach twisted at the sight of Hayes looming in the doorway. The man had a reputation for pushing, for manipulating. He took a small step forward, his voice steady but ice cold. "I heard you all talking about an event. Interesting. But you really think that's enough to save this place?" Mia clenched her jaw, ready to defend their plans. "Yes, we do. The community cares about this diner. They'll show up." Her voice was unwavering, but Sam could tell her confidence wavered under Hayes's scrutinizing gaze. Ethan stood, plants scratching under the tension. "Look, we're bringing people together. That's what this diner needs. Support from those who cherish it, just like you do." Hayes scoffed, shaking his head. "A potluck? Music? You think that'll make a difference?" His laughter echoed, sharp and dismissive. "This place is just a building without the right management. And you three, you're just kids with dreams. What makes you think you can change anything?" Determination flared in Sam's chest. He took a step closer, heart pounding. "Because we believe in this diner, what it stands for. This is a community hub, a gathering place. It's more than just a business." The uninvited tension hung heavy. Hayes regarded Sam, his brow arched, as if he were appraising a frivolous joke. "You're naive if you think warmth and nostalgia will pay the bills. The world doesn't work that way." Lightning cracked outside, and Sam felt the surge of anger rise above his fear. "Maybe not. But we're going to at least give it a shot. You want to see what we can do? You should try turning your back on the past and embracing the community instead." For a second, there was silence, and Sam could almost sense the electricity crackle between them. Hayes' expression shifted. Was it amusement, or was that a flicker of respect? "We'll see about that." With a slight smirk, he backed away but lingered at the door, casting one final curt look. "Good luck with your little gathering. You'll need it." As the door swung closed, releasing the lingering tension, Sam turned back to Mia and Ethan, breathing hard. "He doesn't own us. This diner belongs to the town, and we're going to show him that." Uncertainty still loomed low in his heart, but Sam felt renewed energy after Hayes' departure. "Let us do this," he said, pumping his fist. "We'll plan the best gathering this town has ever seen. We'll prove him wrong." Mia nodded fervently, her fingers racing back to the keyboard. "Invite everyone we know. I want a list of all the families who've come here over the years. This has to be personal." Ethan's eyes sparkled, and he grinned. "I'll reach out to local musicians, start getting the word out. Let us make this the event of the year." Sam felt a surge of hope stream through his veins. They were fighters. They were determined. The storm might rage outside, but inside the diner, they were lighting a fire of their own. As they dove back into their plans, the rain began to ease, letting the intense hum of determination fill the air. Sam noticed Mia squinting at the screen. "Should we also include a memory wall?" she asked. "Pictures of the diner and stories from customers, things they've shared with us over the years." "Yes." Sam's voice echoed with enthusiasm. "That'll show everyone how deep this place runs in our hearts." The preparation snowballed, each idea igniting another. They could have contests for the best dish, games for the kids, a space for stories and laughter. As the vision came together, a sense of clarity washed over Sam. But just as he leaned back, feeling a moment of triumph, Mia paused and frowned, her expression turning serious. "What if Hayes isn't done yet? What if he tries to undermine us during the event?" The brightness faded from Sam's eyes, replaced with a flicker of worry. She was right. They were standing at the edge of a precipice, and one misstep could throw everything off balance. "Then we'll be ready," he replied slowly, determination lacing his voice. "We'll counter him together." But deep down, Sam couldn't shake the unmistakable feeling that Hayes was just waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As the rain began to dwindle into a soft patter, the clarity of their shaking ground loomed over their heads. Would they be able to hold on to their beloved diner, or was this only the beginning of a deeper battle? The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. The trio dove headfirst into their preparations, fueled by adrenaline and an unshakable determination. Sam found himself sleepless, consumed by ideas that bounced around his mind like lightning. He wrote lists, gathered supplies, and even painted signs a vibrant and inviting call to arms for all the townsfolk. Mia became the driving force behind the social media buzz, her fingers flying over her keyboard as she crafted posts and stories that shared the diner's history and the memories it held. "Look at this!" she exclaimed one afternoon, her screen filled with comments and likes. "People want to be part of this. They really, really care." Ethan took charge of the logistics, mapping out the parking lot and sketching out where the tables and chairs would go. While he worked, he hummed tunes that reminded him of summer nights, those lazy evenings spent eating pie and drinking milkshakes with friends. The sounds began to infuse the diner with a sense of belonging that had almost faded in recent months after Hayes' neglect. But concern nagged at Sam. They had momentum, but what would happen when Hayes made his inevitable move? He pushed the thought aside, focusing instead on the excited chatter that filled the diner as families began to stop by, sharing their favorite memories. Questions flew about what dishes they'd bring to share, and everyone seemed to have a story to contribute. On the day before the big event, Mia called Sam and Ethan to the back of the diner. "I found something," she said, her voice laced with excitement. She held up a crinkled piece of paper that looked as if it had been tucked away for years. "It's a letter, a thank you note from kids who used to come here after school. They wrote about their favorite meals and how the diner made them feel at home." Sam leaned in, seeing the familiar handwriting he recognized as belonging to the now-grown children of the town. "This is perfect. We need to read it out during the gathering," he said, unable to contain his enthusiasm. Nostalgia washed over him. As they stood there, the air thick with possibility, the weight of Hayes' looming shadow began to lift. Sam felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were creating something bigger than themselves. They weren't just fighting against an unwanted owner, they were reconnecting a community that had grown distant, breathing life back into a place filled with love and laughter. But as evening approached, dark clouds gathered ominously on the horizon. The mood shifted when Mia, glued to her phone, looked up with a frown. "There's a rumor going around Hayes is hosting a last-minute sale for the diner. He's telling people it's going out of business before our event even starts." The cheerful energy in the room dissipated as if someone had hit a switch. Sam's stomach dropped. Why would he do that? Is he really that desperate to tear this place down? "The move reeks of desperation," Ethan offered quietly, "but it's also a tactic to confuse people and take the wind out of our sails." Sam clenched his jaw, his heart racing. "We can't let him win. What if we turn this into an opportunity? Show everyone that we're not backing down and that we stand for something greater." Mia and Ethan shared a glance, their resolve hardening as they moved closer to Sam. They all understood the stakes, all the laughter, memories, and warmth associated with the diner were at risk. "We need to up our game and rally everyone to be part of this," Mia urged, her voice steady, the fire back in her eyes. With their spirits renewed, they went back to work, crafting messages to spread the word. But as they did, a feeling settled heavily on Sam, one darker than the storm clouds gathering outside. Had they underestimated Hayes? And would the community rise together in time to reclaim their diner, or would they lose it all before the sun set on the gathering they envisioned? The rallying cries echoed in his mind, but a shiver ran down his spine with the thought of all they had to lose. As he looked out the window, the impending storm mirrored the turmoil in his heart. He couldn't shake the feeling that the real battle was about to begin, and the stakes were higher than they could ever imagine. As the hour approached for their planned gathering, the storm outside mirrored the tension inside the diner. Tendrils of anxiety coiled around Sam as he paced the floor, the old wooden boards creaking like the weight of expectation pressing down on him. The air crackled with energy, but it was a whirlwind of nervous excitement, not the joyful anticipation he had hoped for. Mia and Ethan flitted around the diner, each preoccupied with their tasks, yet Sam could see the weariness in their eyes. The atmosphere was heavy, it was hard to pretend they weren't all feeling the same churn of anxiety. "Mia, do you think anyone will show up?" he asked, voicing the fear gnawing at him. "Of course." She shot back, a reassuring smile plastered on her face, but Sam could see the worry lingering behind her bravado. People love this place, they'll come. He nodded, but in his heart was a creeping doubt. What if Hayes' move succeeded? What if everyone believed the diner's fate was sealed? As the clock ticked, the rain began to pour. Sam glanced out the window, watching droplets race down the glass like desperate souls wanting to escape. Just when he started to lose himself in the gloom outside, the familiar sound of laughter interrupted his thoughts. A group of kids from the neighborhood ran into the diner, shaking off the rain like they hadn't a care in the world. "Sam!" one of them called, grinning wide. "Can we help?" Their joy was infectious. Sam smiled, and the familiar warmth bloomed in his chest. "Absolutely. We need all hands on deck. Can you help set up the tables?" As they jumped to action, giggles and chatter filled the space, pulling Sam out of his spiraling thoughts. He caught snippets of conversations old memories shared, favorite milkshake flavors debated, all reminders that the diner meant something to them. He watched as Mia rallied to take photos of the children, capturing moments he knew would be fondly remembered later. Ethan magnified his enthusiasm, sharing the stories of how he had worked there when he was their age. There was something about the energy in the room that felt right, like they were weaving the fabric of the community back together, pulling it tight. But just as Sam began to feel hopeful, the door swung open with an ominous creak, and in walked a few townsfolk, some who had been quick to support Hayes. They mingled quietly, casting skeptical glances at the preparations. Sam's heart sank. Had they come to deride, or had there been a change of heart? Gathering his courage, he approached them, his voice steady. "Hi, I know there are some concerns about our event. We didn't plan on this storm. But we need your support more than ever. Can we count on you to be a part of this?" One woman stepped forward, her brow furrowed with doubt. "It's just it feels like he's won already, doesn't it? Maybe this is a waste of time." Sam felt a sharp stab at her words. "No," he replied firmly, "it's not a waste if we believe in it. If we fight for something that matters. We can't let fear decide for us." For a moment, silence fell over them, the tension thick. Sam could see the flicker of hope in their eyes, but it wasn't enough to outweigh their fears. Just then, Mia appeared behind him, the crinkled letter in hand. "We found this note tonight," she said, her voice carrying over the whispered doubts. "It's from kids who once came here just like you. And I think it speaks to why we're all gathered." She unfolded the paper slowly, the room holding its breath. As Mia began to read the heartfelt thanks from those children, memories of laughter and joy radiated from her words. Sam watched as the skeptical expressions softened, the emotions they all shared unfurling within the diner's walls. Could this simple letter hold the power to turn doubt into determination? Could it bridge the gap Hayes had forged? Sam nervously continued to scan the room, even as thunder rumbled outside. He felt a spark of optimism. There was still time to do something great. But wouldn't it be too late if Hayes made his move before dawn? The real question echoed loudly in his mind: how would they stand firm against the tide threatening to pull them under? As the storm continued to rage outside, the laughter and chatter inside the diner grew louder, drowning out the impending chaos. Sam felt the weight of uncertainty lift just a little. Mia's voice resonated with passion as she finished reading the note, and applause erupted from the crowd of locals who had gathered. "See?" Mia beamed. "This is why we can't give up. This diner is about memories, about people finding a second home." Sam's heart swelled at the sight of familiar faces nodding, their belief rekindling a little fire within him. Maybe they weren't done after all. With renewed energy, Ethan took charge and announced, "Let us share our stories. Let us celebrate everything this diner means." One by one, they shared their favorite memories. Mr. Collins reminisced about the time he proposed to his late wife at this very counter, and another couple spoke of their first date over breakfast at Edna's. Each story wove a shimmering tapestry of nostalgia that wrapped around the diner, echoing the love and warmth forged within its walls. As the rain poured in torrents outside, an idea began to blossom in Sam's mind, an idea as vibrant as the colors splashing across the walls of the diner. What if we invite everyone to share their stories? Let's create a living memory book on that wall over there. He pointed to an empty space, darkened by shadows. We can take pictures, write messages, let folks tell their stories and add to our legacy, he proposed, heart racing as excitement surged through the crowd. Mia's eyes sparkled. Yes. Let's create a mural that reflects who we are as a community. Ethan spoke up, energized, and we can run a contest for the best dish or drink inspired by the diner's history. Let folks create their own spins on the classics. With that, the energy in the room shifted. Where doubt once lingered, hope now permeated the air. The townsfolk scattered across the diner, brimming with ideas and stories, creating a buzz like never before. They began setting up the makeshift wall, arranging tables, and contributing anything they could. Sam's heart raced as the diner transformed into a hive of activity, laughter, and camaraderie. He glanced out the window. The storm raged on but felt somehow distant. Inside the diner, something beautiful was happening. As evening settled across the town, the gathering unfolded magnificently. The newly adorned wall now glimmered with memories, colorful messages greeted visitors, photos framed by love forgotten in time. One by one, they brought in dishes to share, turning the event into a potluck celebration infused with the essence of the diner. The crowd grew, and soon the sound of music filled the air. Local musicians played soulful tunes that made everyone tap their feet and sway in their seats. Sam felt whole, surrounded by the familiar faces of people who had wrestled through the darkest times together. For Sam, this was what family felt like, a community fighting for their legacy. Hours flowed like the beloved coffee that filled mugs. He couldn't help but smile as he watched a line form for the Mia and Sam special. The vibrant flavors Mia had created echoed through the laughter and joyous conversations. As the night wore on, he spotted Mrs. Baker standing at the wall, tears glistening in her eyes. "Your parents would be so proud," she said, breaking Sam's heart with the truth of it. Before he could respond, a familiar figure stepped into the glow of the diner. Sam's breath caught. It was Ethan, standing tall as he called for attention. "We're here tonight because of our love for this place and the memories we've made. But more importantly, we're standing strong for what comes next," he declared. "We will replace fear with hope, and we will fight for it all." Cheers erupted, echoing through the diner, igniting a fire in every heart. Sam locked eyes with Mia, her face glowing with pride. The connection was solidified, no longer just a father and daughter, they were co-captains of a movement, unbreakable and fierce together. But just as the energy peaked, a flash of lightning illuminated the diner, and in that moment, Hayes burst through the door again. Wet, with no intention of hiding his presence, he cast a dark shadow over the celebration. "What is going on here?" he demanded, arms crossed, and ready to pounce like a predator. Sam took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the past and the thrill of the present all in one. "We're saving our diner and celebrating our community," he replied, his voice steady. "You underestimated us, Hayes. We're not fading away, and we want to let you take our legacy." Hayes scoffed, but Sam could see the doubt creeping into his eyes. The energy in the room had shifted, the townsfolk rallied closer together, cheeks flush with pride. Sam met Hayes' gaze, resolute and unyielding. "You don't own our history. You can try to take the building, but you can't take everything we've built together. This diner is alive because of us, not because of a development scheme." Sam could feel the support around him, the people gathered behind him. He saw Mrs. Baker, Mia, Ethan, and even the children who had come to help, every face reflected hope and determination. "Leave now, and let this place become what it was always meant to be, a home." Hayes stood at the threshold, uncertainty flickering across his face. He realized he had underestimated the power of a community that refused to be torn apart. Finally, with a scoff and a dismissive wave, he turned and walked away, exiting the diner once and for all. Cheers erupted once more. Sam's heart soared, the victory tangible all around him. They had defied the odds, unearthing connections buried beneath layers of worry and doubt. As the spectators joined in, Sam took a deep breath, feelings of gratitude washing over him. Together with Mia, they would continue to explore the future of their beloved diner, standing strong for what truly mattered: the bonds of love, community, and hope. The storm may have raged outside, but inside Edna's diner, it was a night of belonging. Sam finally understood that this was more than just a business, it was the spirit of the town, the heartbeat of family. And with that understanding came an unwavering promise to see it through, no matter what challenges lay ahead. If you're feeling inspired by Sam and Mia's journey, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to fuel the drive that keeps us going, and comment below your reactions and feelings about this incredible transformation. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel this inspiration. You don't want to wait not even one more second to spread this message. Together, we can continue to uplift and cherish our communities.